There we go. Now we're recording. Hi, everybody. We can start all over again. Make it all official. Basically, the main purpose of tonight's call is just to kind of give everybody a pathway towards Apprentice Black Belts. It's been something that has been elusive to most people, except Ane, who's here. Ane just turned in his test for his Apprentice Black Belt. Round of applause for Ane. Right? So a lot of people are getting closer to the path of Apprentice Black Belt, and then after that is Certified Black Belt. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a better idea of what to expect so you can plan accordingly and know what's going on. First and foremost, you know about tomorrow's class, Black Belt Prep. That is going to be a recorded class. If you're not able to make it live, you can watch the recording. That is going to be an advanced class for red belts and higher. So we will be covering some advanced techniques of some sort and prepping you guys for your Apprentice Black Belt test in one way or another. So it is a 30-minute class. It will run independent of the weekday classes or the 6 p.m. classes. We still want the kids to come to the 6 p.m. class because that way they'll learn the basics and the fundamentals of what we're doing. But then the Friday class will be a little bit more advanced and kind of keep them hopefully a little bit more motivated in that regard. So I went all out for you guys. And let me hold on a second. Oh, it's not gonna let me minimize. Oh, let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna share my screen. And I made some slides for you guys because you guys are just that awesome. So let me open up here. And so this is going to cover some of the basics. Now, the first and biggest premise is that anything and everything is open to change. So with the COVID situation, a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about is what was in or what is in place for the Apprentice Black Belt. There is a process I'm building to make the testing 100% virtual. So for people in the future that either aren't able to make it to the school or choose not to come to the school, you would still be able to test all the way through Black Belt without a problem. So this is where some things are going to adjust or change. So I am recording this and saying it on the recording. I reserve the right to change my mind at any time with what the requirements are, but this is what they are at the moment. Thumbs up if you understand. All right, very good. So what we're talking about for time frame wise for red, brown, and brown stripe belts. So this is basically for red belt. If you're a red belt right now, this process, whole thing should take about 6 months. This is the same exact process you've been doing since white belts. Testing every 8 weeks, and then you test for brown, and then another 8 weeks you test for your brown stripe. What I want you to start thinking about, though, where I'm seeing the biggest struggles for the students is at the very top, etiquette and effort. Some students are knocking it out of the park, and some students are at level 0. I don't really have anybody in between. So you need to start deciding and focusing on where you at on your effort and your etiquette. So just like in class, we're talking about a level 10 effort. Everything you should be doing is at level 10, right? The student creed, we talk about legacy. What do we say with legacy? To be a leader and a role model. Other students should be looking up at red belts and higher saying, wow, I want to be like them. That's happening with some of the students, but not all of the students. So first and foremost, if your etiquette and your effort is not at level 10, I can promise you right now, you will not get an invitation to Black Belt Camp. So I'm telling you 6 to 12 months before the requirement comes into place. That is the first and most important thing to me ever. Etiquette means, yes, sir, every single time, right? Level 10 effort in class, every single class. Bowing every single time. Hand up fast to volunteer to be a leader. Those are the things that red, brown, and brown stripes should be focused on. If you're not doing that, you're showing me that you're not ready for an Apprentice Black Belt yet. And that's fine. Again, let's go back 6 months, this 6-month path. is the minimum. Don't think that it's 6 months and you got it. It's 6 months minimum. So if your effort or your etiquette are lacking, you're going to be sitting at candidate belt for a while until that gets up. It doesn't matter to me if you can kick straight up to the ceiling. I don't care if you can spin the bow faster and better than I can. All right? I don't care if you can spar 15 people and knock them all out with one punch. None of that matters if your etiquette and your effort is lacking. So that's going to be first and foremost. Number 2, physical fitness, right? For your black belt test, right? You can check and make sure. You can ask Ane, you can ask Sajal, and you can ask some of the other candidates. Your physical fitness is going to be tested in black belt camp. There's going to be a 1, if not a 2-mile run requirement. There's going to be push-up requirement. There's going to be exercises. So if you start now, you'll be better prepared in 6 or 12 months when it comes up. So in general, what I'm thinking about is just start thinking about your physical fitness and how can you start improving it so you're ready. It doesn't have to be over the top crazy yet, but I do want you to be aware of it and working towards that. Third thing, knowledge and skill of your basic blocks, strikes, and kicks. Everything we do in class for the next year is going to be on your test. So you should be paying attention. What is an inside block? What is an outside block? What is a high block? What is a palm strike? All the things that we've been covering are going to be on your test. You need to know what they are and how to demonstrate them without me having to show you. Number 4, we just talked about, make sure you start attending the Friday class. Do that as much as you can. That is definitely going to help you and get you better prepared for that. Next one, consider joining leadership training. Leadership training is going to help you with your life skills. It's going to help with the public speaking, and it's going to help you with the goal setting. So that way, that's going to be an extra thing. We've talked to pretty much everybody about it before. So it's not a big sales presentation about leadership training. If you have questions or you're interested in that, reach out to me. We can schedule some time to talk one-on-one and answer your questions about that. Finally, the life skills. You are going to be required to know what the 6 life skills are and what the movements are that go with them. So raise your hand right now if you can tell me all 6 life skills without any ums. See, not enough hands. Right? So you need to know all 6 of your life skills. So again, red, brown stripe, this is going to be a 6-month process. Once you reach after brown stripe, the next stripe is candidate belt. Candidate belt is the prep belt for your apprentice black belt. Candidate belt on its own, again, is a 6-month minimum. You must attend at least 50 classes. Then you also need to make sure, like we talked about before, that your effort and your etiquette are top notch, that you are a role model for lower belt ranks at all times. For those of you that are already candidate belt, right, the red belt goes on top. So it's a half red, half black. Red on top, black on the bottom, no excuses. Do not let me catch you with your belt reversed. If your black is on top and your red is on bottom, you and I are going to have an issue. That's all I'm going to say. Red on top. Red always on top. Now, at candidate belt, you should have great physical fitness. You should be really fit and ready to start entering camp to do your test. If you're, so an example would be for red belts, brown belts, I would like you to be able to do, say, 10 push-ups, 10 black belt level push-ups. That would be physical fitness. Candidate belt should be closer to 20. If you're struggling, and again, push-ups is just one example. I see some of you parents eyeballing your kids, knock it off. Right? So it's a matter of just general guidelines. So push-ups is just one example. It could be anything. Your kicks, you should be able to do your front kicks. Your level 10, we did running this week as the warm-up. You should be able to sprint at level 10 for 15 seconds when we do the warm-up. Things of that nature. Next, you should make sure that you are the best role model in every class. As a candidate belt, everybody in the school should be looking up to you and saying, wow, thumbs up, that person is doing great. Right? So that means your yes sirs are on point. Speak when spoken to. I shouldn't have to remind you ever. Right? Proper bowing in, proper bowing out. All of that etiquette and general skills are in place. Now, as a candidate belt, you must know the 6 life skills and all of the pillars that go with each. So as you noticed in class this week for belief, we talked about the first 2 pillars. What are the first 2 pillars of belief? Tell your mom or dad. Tell your mom or dad. What are they? Pop quiz. Number 1, trust. Number 2, consistency. Trust and consistency were the 2 things we talked about this week in class. You are going to need to know all of the pillars for Apprentice Black Belt as well. Now, again, this also ties back in leadership. We go over each of these pillars in depth to make sure that the students not only know them, but they're practicing them every single week, which is going to go back and also help with the memory because they're internalizing it a whole lot more. So that is the general path for. So if you're a red belt right now our timeline is 12 months, 6 months to get to candidate belt. Candidate belt is 6 months of prep, which then gets us to black belt camp. Black belt camp is a 6-month block. So as a red belt, you're now at 18 months to basically test for your apprentice black belt. That's the timeline. It seems like a long time. But guess what? This last year has gone by pretty fast, hasn't it? We're talking about COVID has been around for a year now. Right? So time, while we talk about it, seems like it's really far off in the future, but these 18 months are going to fly because you're getting belts and you're doing tests all along the way. Black belt camp is a 6-month process. As I have listed here, there are 4 tests in black belt camp. They are automatic pass-fail tests. Don't worry about what they are right now, please. That's putting the cart before the horse. There'll be 4 required tests. They'll be on the things that we have covered, and I know that you should know in order to pass that test. If you do not pass the test, this is the first time the students will hear from me that they have failed a test, and they will be removed from camp. Now, let's tell you a little story. I have 3 students that have failed black belt camp twice in a row. Don't be that student. So it has happened, and it does happen that a student will fail a test, right? But if you put in the time, if you put in the effort, and you listen to me and do what you're supposed to do, you shouldn't have any problem passing the tests. The people that have trouble passing the tests, guess where it starts from? Their etiquette. Their etiquette was weak. They never said yes, sir. They bowed really weakly, so that everything else from there went downhill. So we want to start making sure that we put all of the foundational stones in place for you to be successful. I don't ever want a student to fail a black belt test. It's not on me, though. I give the test. It's up to you to earn the passing. Thumbs up if that's fair. Good. All right. Now, in black belt camp, you need to be in absolute peak performance. Don't you, Ane? Ane is nodding his head, right? Just in case you don't see him. Right? So what we're going to be working on is now we don't want to be working on your cardiovascular ability. We don't want to be working on your strength. You know, you're struggling doing 10 push-ups, but in black belt camp, we're doing 25 or 50 at a time. So now's not the time to be trying to improve your fitness. Entering black belt camp should be at your absolute best. As I mentioned from the very beginning, Black belt camp is a fluid thing. So Ane and Sajal have completed the first ever black belt, apprentice black belt test virtually. Right? So before this, we didn't have a virtual option. It had to be done in person, and you either did it in person or we waited. Well, guess what? We got tired of waiting. So I went ahead and I created a virtual version of it. In my opinion, the virtual version, a lot of it was harder than the actual test doing it in person, because I gave them a sheet of paper and said, here's the requirements, go do them. And they had to do it just them. They didn't have a class every single week, or they didn't have, you know, the stress of an actual test. So in that regard, it was a lot harder. Now, it was easier in other respects because they didn't have a deadline. Do it when you're ready. Let me know. So that's what's going to kind of change in some of the requirements as we move forwards. In black belt camp, you absolutely should be demonstrating the life skills every day. Do you have a yes, I can attitude? Right? Do you show proper respect? Do you have good communication? You speak when spoken to. Do you have proper self-esteem, that you think well and highly of yourself and others? Are you honest? Whoops, sorry. Are you honest? Dun, dun, dun. And of course, one more. Which one did I miss? I just gave you the 5 life skills. Are you disciplined? Is your discipline at black belt level? Those are the things you should be demonstrating on a regular basis. All right. So really cool parable here. So I'm going to read it to you since the print might be a little bit small. So it says, one of the best parables that I've heard about martial artists is a martial artist who kneels before an instructor at their belt ceremony to receive their hard-earned black belt. After years of relentless training, the student has finally reached a pinnacle of achievement in discipline. Before granting you the belt, you must pass one more test. The instructor solemnly tells the young man. I'm ready, responds the student, expecting perhaps another round of sparring. You must answer the essential question, what is the true meaning of the black belt? Why, it's the end of my journey, the student says, a well-deserved reward for all of my hard work. Well, the master waits for more. Clearly, he's not satisfied. And he finally says, you're not ready for a black belt. Return to me in 1 year. As the student kneels before the master a year later, he again is asked that question. What is the true meaning of a black belt? It's a symbol of distinction of the highest achievement in our art. The young man responds. Again, the instructor waits for more, is still unsatisfied, and once again says, you're not ready for your black belt. Return in another year. A year later, the student kneels before his instructor. Here's the all familiar question. What is the true meaning of the black belt? This time, he answers, the black belt represents not the end, but the beginning, the start of a never-ending journey of discipline, work, and the pursuit of an ever higher standard. Yes, said the instructor, you are now ready to receive the black belt and begin your work. All wise people see that changes can be new beginnings. Change doesn't need to be feared, and neither should we be looking for a permanent resting place if you want to have a full and happy life. So if you can affirm that the change that you are about to face represents not an ending, but a new beginning in your life's journey, you may be ready to move forwards for earning the black belt. No claps at all. Nobody's clapping. Nobody is. Come on. I was looking at, the wave. Get the wave going. All that fun stuff. All right. Very, very awesome. So, as I mentioned, that was basically the overview of what I wanted to cover. If you guys have any specific questions, like I mentioned at the beginning, you can type them in the chat. I am happy to address. Be prepared. Some of the answers might be, I don't know yet. If you have anything specific, like, well, what is on my black belt test? I don't know yet. We're not there. All right. Who is going to be daring and ask the first question? I'm going to sit here and pet Yuki while you guys contemplate. Oh, Yuki left me. All right. Well, then I'll get a drink. Oh, look at that. Mr. Covin's already practicing. He's got his high blocks going. Whoa! All right. I will give you another minute. If nobody has any questions, then we are all set for the evening. Who is planning on attending Friday's class tomorrow? Oh, yeah. It's going to be work. It's going to be work. Ronan is asking, since he's not at home. Yeah, Mr. I live in Florida now. Good for you. Nice warm weather. Staying with grandma. Since you're not at home right now, are the life skill booklets online? They should be in the leadership Facebook group. If I recall correctly, all of them are in the leadership group and you are on the leadership team. Mr. Covenant, are parents expected at Friday class? Parents are expected at all classes, sir. But I realize if there's a situation where you can't be, then that should be the exception to the rule. But again, the more you're watching and helping out, the more you're going to understand where we're headed with the black belt test. Very good question. Samik is upside down like he is in class times. He likes freaking me out that way. So if you guys have your view on gallery right now, you can see the Samik is hanging like a vampire bat from his ceiling. All right, about 5 more seconds. If nobody has any other questions, thumbs up if you're good and you don't have any questions, then we don't. Go ahead, finish up, Alexander. I'm waiting. If everybody else is good, we are. I am recording this, so I will send this out to everybody. I'll post it, so that way they know. Nishi and Dweej are on brown stripe. Whoop, whoop. Brown stripes, brown stripes. Right, is requirement for candidate belts to stay for 6 months. Candidate belt is a minimum of 6 months prep. You must attend 50 classes, and then camp itself will be another 6 months. So at this point, you would be a apprentice black belt a year from when you get your candidate belt would be the minimum. Alexander, what time is the Friday class? That is a fair question, sir. 3:45. 3:45 to 4:15 on Fridays. It's in the membership section. You should register for it just like you do for regular class because it will count as attendance for the week. So that way you guys will be able to have that. What happens after black belt camp? Mr. Covenant is asking. Let's put the cart way before the horse. We have the cart. We don't even have the horse yet. After black belt camp, so from black belt camp, this step, you would earn your apprentice black belt. That's where Sajal is at and then they just tested for. Now they do another 6-month prep and then would enter black belt camp 2 to earn their certified black belt. So I want you guys to know the terminology. Apprentice black belt, then certified black belt, right? So then after that, you would get your 2nd degree black belt, 3rd degree black belt, etc. You are welcome, Mr. Hendricks. Very good. Dun, 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 dun. New beginnings. Yes, yes. After candidate belt, do we need to order the belt? You need to order all of your belts if you would want them, Darsh. So you don't have to order it if you don't want it. Right? So so again, but I understand what you're asking. So let me phrase that a little bit different. The apprentice black belt is the black belt with a white stripe through the middle. That is apprentice white, then apprentice yellow, apprentice orange, apprentice green. That cycle continues again, but that is the belt that you would order, not a solid black belt yet. That's the certified black belt. That one I think I still need to order because it comes embroidered with some extra cool stuff on it sometimes. But again, I reserve my right to change my answer at a future time. Just saying. Just saying. All right. Well, it is 8:30. I know Jaeger's got some fun things to do, right, Alexander? Got to go play with Jaeger a little bit? Yeah. Right? Yuki's right here with me. She's bugging me to go out and play for a little bit. So if there are no other questions, I will thank you guys for your time. This is not a one and done. If you think of a question later tonight, shoot it to me. You give me an email or Facebook message, whatever works. Nishi sees my dragon. Right? And well, see, all right, Nishi, you know Have you heard what my office is called, Nishi? Do you know what it is? My office is called the Dragon's Den. Because it's hard to show you right now. I might take some pictures. I actually have a dragon table where it's a dragon and the glass is held on the dragon's wings. My purple one is my favorite one, but I have my red dragon. That one's right here. I have my dragon eye coaster. You cannot have a dragon's den without toothless. You have to have a toothless if you're going to have dragons. Then, oh, my little purple guy, my other little purple one. I'm not done. This is why it's called the Dragon's Den. This is probably the toughest one. Nobody has seen this stuff before. But then I got this one for my holidays. So there's like 12 little ones that came as a set. So after oh, wait a minute. And I've got my pen holder. So you kind of have to call it the Dragon's Den, don't you? If we're going to be that committed to it. So when people say, why did we choose a dragon as our logo? Why do you think? Because dragons are awesome. Right? So very, very good. So Avdishi, I'm glad you like my purple one. That is my newest one that I absolutely adore, which is why it's right there as well. I get to look at it every single day. And I think that's all the questions. So we went a little sideways there with the Dragon's Den, but now you guys are in the know. You know about the Dragon's Den. So, all right, have a super awesome night, guys. Thanks for your time. We look forward to seeing you guys in Friday's class. Again, it will be recorded and put in the video library if for any reason you can't make it. Otherwise, we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, guys.